Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Archana Rao, Faculty of Pharmaceutical Engineering, BVR 18 at Sapur. Today I'm going to start with the introduction to the new course, Unit Process of Organic Synthesis, which is there for the third BTech first semester Pharmaceutical Engineering students. Let us just get started with the introduction to the subject. So chemical industry is one of the oldest industries and playing an important role in social, cultural and economic growth of the nation and providing basic needs of the humankind like food, shelter and clothing. So as you all know that chemical industry, as you look around your room, any one of the product will be the output of the chemical industry. So as it is mentioned here, chemical industry provides the basic needs of the humankind, which may be related to food, shelter or clothing. So as I already mentioned, it is related to food, shelter and clothing. Here is a list of applications also in this field. For example, in the food, so whatever the fertilizer or agrochemicals are there, that comes from the chemical industry. Even if you talk about clothing, the textiles, the dyes, the synthetic fibers, these are the product of chemical industry. Even coming to the shelter, the polymer composites or coatings or new materials that is used for the construction, they are also the product of chemical industries. Apart from that, a very important healthcare, the pharmaceuticals which are present for the healthcare, they are also manufactured by the chemical industries. In addition to this, to improve the quality of a human life, we need electricity and we need transportation. So many of these things also come from the chemical industries. So as it can be seen from these examples, the chemical industries form the basis of so many products that we use in our day-to-day life. Chemical industry has evolved considerably over the last century, changing societal requirements and changing raw materials availability and environmental issues. Some of the major technological development of the industry are, so we have come a long way in the last century. So maybe a few decades ago, we were using chemical fertilizer, but due to the growth of the chemical industry, we now have biofertilizer. Few decades ago, people were using soaps and detergents, but now we have come up to the biodegradable and more sustainable options of the products. So these list of applications represents the growth of the chemical industry in the last century. So as we know, there are majority of the applications which we see in and around us comes from the chemical industry. Let us just see the world chemical market as well. So this pie chart represents the world chemical market. The source is from 2008. So if you can see here, petrochemical occupies a major share in the world chemical market. Petrochemicals comes from the raw materials crude oil. So from crude oil, first you are going to get the fuels like your gasoline or diesel or jet fuel. The second range of products will be the petrochemicals. So you can see that the large market for petrochemicals, which is around 39%. Similarly, the next large market will be the pharmaceuticals, the drug manufacture or the healthcare chemicals. The third category or the similar to the pharmaceutical is the performance chemicals. For example, rust inhibitors. Rust inhibitor is one of the performance chemicals. So apart from that, there are other chemicals occupying various areas in this world chemical market. So and you can also see that this world chemical market is for the year of 2008, but it is also showing a 1.8 times growth in the GDP. Having seen the world chemical market, let me also show you the global pharmaceutical chemical market. So this pie chart shows the global pharmaceutical chemical market, which is for the year 2022. So in this you can see that the largest chemicals that are manufactured are in the infectious diseases area. The next one that is manufactured will be in the cardiovascular area. And you can also see that the number of diabetes infected people are increasing day by day. So diabetes chemicals also forms a major market in the global pharmaceutical markets. So although chemical industry has made consistent growth during the last decades, however, compared to the global level, there is still a lot of scope for further development. So chemical industry in India has grown tremendously after independence, but compared to the global market, we are still lagging behind in few of the areas. Like, size of older units is well below the global levels. High cost structures. So when you have high cost structures, the capital investment is high, which will give rise to a high product cost and less profit. High cost of raw materials. So for some of the productions, we are dependent on the other countries for the raw materials, which may lead to a higher cost. Long gestation periods. Some of the processes require a long time for the product development, so which will again have an effect on the profit. Next one is the integration and infrastructure inadequacies. So chemical industry has various sections, so there should be a good integration between the various sections. If that is not then done, that also acts like a weakness for the growth of the industry. Process development, R&D and mindset. So this is again a weakness for the Indian chemical industry. So we need to increase the investment in the research and development. Also, we need to alter our mindset. So we should go for more flexible, collaborative kind of mindset for the growth of the industry. So this chart again shows about the various issues faced by the chemical industry, like save water, reduce operating cost. Operating cost includes the cost which are incurred during the operation of the process, like pump duties or labor charge. Improve efficiency, introduce new plant, improve utility system performance. So utility in the sense which provides the energy requirement for the process, like steam or electricity or cold water, cooling water and so on. Reduce and plan capital. So we need to have a low capital investment and a good profit. Meet new product specifications. So every day the customer demands keeps on changing, so we need to meet with the specifications of the market. Increase throughput, minimize wastewater, reduce waste and reduce emissions. So every day the government comes up with new norms to prevent the environmental pollution. So the chemical industry should cope up with these new emission standards and bring about the changes in their industry. So as you all know, a basic chemical process is having 3 zones. The first one is the input, which is transfer of reactants to the reaction zone. The second zone is a reaction, where new products are formed, that is chemical reactions involving various unit processes. And finally you have the output, which is separation of the products from the reaction zone. So basic chemical process, you have unit operations and unit processes. You can see here that usually input as well as output we deal with the unit operations, whereas the actual reaction zone or the reactions we deal with the unit processes. So unit operation is the one where there is only physical change taking place, and chemical unit of process is the one where new product is formed or a chemical change is taking place. So this is a list of unit operations. Let us see one of the example. For example, crushing. So crushing is a unit operation where only physical change takes place. That is, size is reduced from a larger size to smaller size. There is no new product formed or there is no chemical change taking place. So that we call it as a unit operation. Or we have absorption. So absorption also involves transfer of a solute from one phase to the other phase. So here also it's a separation process. There is no chemical change or chemical reaction taking place or new product generation. So such kind of operations which includes only physical changes without the formation of new product or without chemical reactions, we call it as unit operations. So usually in a chemical process, the input as well as the output, usually we deal with the unit operations. The second one is a unit process, which is a chemical reaction. So whenever you have a chemical reaction taking place or a new product being formed, we call it as a unit process. For example, calcination, carbonation, halogenation, hydrolysis, hydration, nitration, all these comes under the unit processes where new product is formed. For example, formation of ammonia. Nitrogen and hydrogen react to give out ammonia. So here a new product is formed, a chemical reaction takes place. So this comes under unit process. Whereas crushing, grinding, distillation, evaporation, drying, all these physical changes takes place or a separation change takes place. So we call it as a unit process. So since we want to know the unit processes, we need to initially understand the basic principles as well. The process may be homogeneous or heterogeneous. So in homogeneous, you have the reactants, catalyst all in the same phase. Whereas in heterogeneous, you have the reactants or the catalyst in different phases. Also, the reactions may be reversible, irreversible, endothermic, exothermic, catalytic or non-catalytic. Coming to the variables affecting the chemical reactions, basically temperature, pressure, concentration, these affects the rate of chemical reaction. Along with the type of catalyst, catalyst stability, catalyst selectivity also affects the rate of chemical reaction. Finally, the heat transfer and mass transfer also affects the rate of chemical reaction. Also, the reactions for the new product synthesis can be carried out in batch, semi-batch or continuous form. And as you already know, the reactors which we use for production of new products, they may be batch, CSTR or plug flow reactor. It may be isothermal or adiabatic, or it may be catalytic or non-catalytic reactor. So in order to set up a new plant, we need to follow a step-by-step procedure. So as it is listed in this slide. So when you follow this step-by-step procedure, it gives an design of a complete plant. So first we start with the basic chemical data, then we go for the process flow diagram, then we go for the process equipment design. Finally, you have the process control and instrumentation. As you can also see here, process economics should also be done by the engineer. Once all these things are set right, you can go for the plant location, safety and health. Then you have the construction of the plant. Once the plant is constructed and functioning, you have the research and development, and finally the process intensification. So based on this introduction, we have included the following topics in your syllabus, which includes the various unit processes used in chemical industries for synthesizing various products that we use in our day-to-day life. So we have sulfonation, nitration, amination, halogenation and oxidation. So this would be the outcomes of your course. That is, you need to understand the process, you need to tell about the kinetics and thermodynamics involved in a particular process, as well as you need to draw the process flow diagram and the various industrial equipment used in that particular process. So with this background, I complete the introduction. So we will start with the unit 1 in the next lecture. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.